All right, peace and love, family. I'm always excited to bring you inspiring and empowering episodes that help us all live our best lives. So get ready to level up with us again. I'm thrilled to have a very special guest on today's show. Miss Lumin Grace is a light worker, a soul coach who is dedicated to helping women live the most colorful and fulfilling lives they can imagine. As an accomplished author and creator, she's been using her platform to encourage women to embrace their own unique light, honor their passions, and step into their power. So, ladies, get ready to dive deep into what it means to have the power of creating a success driven mindset, to trust your intuition, and to manifest a life that you are absolutely obsessed with. I know you'll enjoy Lumen's wisdom and her guidance and insights on how to infuse more joy, magic, and vibrancy into all areas of your life. So get comfortable and let's get ready to manifest the life of our dreams. Welcome to the Sacred Sisterhood Show. This sacred space is all about empowering women to achieve their best selves in all aspects of life. I'm your host, Callie Devine, and I'm so excited for our in-depth discussions about spirituality, mindfulness, and personal growth. Whether you're just starting your journey or looking to level up, the Sacred Sisterhood Show is here to support you every step of the way. Our guest and I share our unique experiences and perspectives to help you unlock your hidden potential, tap into your inner goddess, and find your purpose in life. So sit back, grab a cup of tea or wine, and let's get ready for some good vibes and positive energy. What's up, sis? Thank you for joining us today.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
How are you?
Pretty good.
That's good. Well, I can't wait to get into this conversation because I actually found you when I was searching I was just looking on TikTok. And I think I was looking for like meditation coaches. But then your profile popped up and I was intrigued because of some of the things that you said that you were able to accomplish in a short period of time. And we'll get into that in a second.
Okay.
But first, I want to do a little icebreaker. We're going to do the spin the wheel, just like we do with all of our other guests. And I'm just going to pull up our screen really quick.
How cute is that?
Let's see what we got. Okay. Secret talent or special abilities. Okay. So I want you to share with the audience a secret talent that many people may not know about you.
One of my secret talents will probably be singing. I tend to sing quite a bit. I love some karaoke, and I am a super fan of musicals and all that jazz, classic movie and
Oh,
musicals as well. So singing is a bit in my DNA. I would say special talent when it comes to the spiritual side of things. I truly believe that my prominent gift is clairaudience. So clear hearing, being able to hear messages. Oh yeah, that's the.
do you ever have like ringing in your ears
Oh,
when
absolutely.
you are receiving a message? I swear, I'm always having ringing in my ears, but it's something that I need to focus more into and practice so I can kind of dial down what messages I'm getting. But I swear, I'm always getting the ringing in my ears. But so, like you said, you're like a shower singer, like nobody really knows.
I do a little bit on my social media here and there. I sprinkle it in, and definitely want to move more into intuitive soul music or what they call like light language music, which kind of sometimes has no words. It's more about the sounds and the and what is choosing to present itself.
Right, and the frequency.
Yeah. Hmm.
Tell me a little bit more about yourself and how you got into soul coaching and healing other women.
Okay. Well, my initial background is just as a creative my entire life, doing what I would consider the light worker's work. And the path has always been sprinkled in there. So over the course of my life, it was always supporting people older and younger without me actually realizing, oh, this is the gift and this is the thing that I do. So I spent a lot of time in many different areas of life, different industries. Again, just creating my way, listening to what came to me, what inspired me to bring from the unseen into the seen, That included working, again, it's a whole spectrum. That included working in mining industry over in Australia, creating a food business, creating a marketplace for plus size women, pretty much the world's first one back in the day. And through that I created also a cleaning company was the last thing I did before switching full time into this soul coach and life light work. So that is what I was doing till about 2 years ago.
You sound a lot like me, a serial entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I had a series of business that I created since I was like, well, I was pretty much a child. I think I remember when I was around 11 or 12 and I started selling ice cold waters and sodas on the corner of a busy street to make money for candy. So ever since then, I created a bunch of businesses as well.
Yeah, that was just a few. There's a whole, of course, a whole realm similar to you from high school selling candy. Before that, writing and doing people's dating profiles. Like I've done a whole lot of things. And so, yeah, but it was time to buckle down and get on with the soul work that was calling me.
That's nice. That's good that you actually acknowledged that call and answered it. So I found you on TikTok, like I was mentioning before, and I was watching this one particular video where you were talking about how you transform your life in about 1.5 years. Can you explain what took place during that time to allow you to level up?
Oh, yes. So, what happened a little bit before that was I was living in Los Angeles, running my cleaning company for 5 years, 4 to 5 years. And for some reason, I had a bit of a premonition that said, in 1 year, you're going to be traveling 12 to 18 months. I don't know where, I don't know why. And so I was like, okay, well, let me prepare myself for whatever this shift in my life is going to be. So I saved up and just began to move as if something was going to happen that I had no idea what was going to happen. And what ended up happening is my apartment complex ended up getting sold or left to family once the owner passed away. And I was like, this is the catalyst for me to now shift, pivot, and do something completely different. And I had already left the cleaning company a year prior and was teaching people how to do it. So that turned into teaching. I wanted to start using my gifts that way. But I was always doing things behind the scenes, making magic, as I call it, from behind the scenes. And so I knew well before leaving and traveling for a year and a half nonstop full time that my calling was to come from behind the scenes into the forefront of my life and to lead by example, to show women what it looks like to be courageous, to build your life the way you want it to look. And again, this was just my natural inclination and calling. I just was in denial or putting it on the back burner and saying, but I can do this from behind the scenes. Why must I show up, put my face on camera, social media, all the things? But I knew better. Since I was younger, I knew better. Standing in the mirror, knowing I was going to have a microphone in my hand, knowing I was going to be at book signings. I knew all this stuff, but yes. So when that moment came for me to leave or to leave from that particular place, I said, okay, well, I can reestablish myself here, or I can do what I always wanted to do and travel the world full time and just have this moment of freedom and to find or to dig deep within myself and to become the most courageous version of myself, to elevate my inside, to release what no longer served me, and to really begin to embody the fullness of that person I had always seen, but had yet to step fully into. So, over the course of that year and a half of traveling to over 11 countries, 21 countries and counting now, I absolutely fell in love with the healing process through spiritual practices and communities. I fell deeper in love with myself. And one of the things that happened as I traveled was I sold everything and I packed a single suitcase, and that became everything I owned. And it kind of still is to this day. And so that also allowed me to move into the season of full detachment, even more so than I already was as a natural minimalist. But to say, okay, this is now my life. What is it that actually is going to fulfill me beyond any material things? And so that journey as well, the journey again to releasing anything, any pre written scripts, communal ideals, everything that was no longer serving me for the person and the bigger life that I wanted. So that growth, finding my community of people who thought like me, who were just living their lives according to their own personal plan and path. And that's how I ended up stumbling into those 11 countries is through community and connections. Oh, let's go here. So yeah, it was really a journey to fully embracing and embodying myself, my journey on this planet, and to dig deep into gaining clarity on how I'm supposed to actually serve and lead the audience. Again, that I've always seen in my mind having. And it was just like, how do I now show up for them? And this journey of the last year and a half has put me on the path to doing that. And that is where you find me today.
That's an amazing story, and I think I am a little bit like that as well. When I was younger, I would always daydream about just like being on stage and singing. And like I said, I'm a shower singer, but I would always like have daydreams about being in front of a bunch of people. But knowing me, I'm like the biggest introvert that you could ever meet. I have always been very shy, but I knew that some somehow for some reason I was called to speak to a lot of people
Yeah.
because maybe I have a message to share. I don't know. But so you mentioned in the beginning that before you took that trip, before you travel, you got a premonition and you had to prepare. So essentially you had to kind of change your mindset a little bit to kind of prepare for the unknown. And I can imagine that that was pretty scary. Were you at all afraid or apprehensive of moving forward and just letting go of everything and just like traveling abroad?
In that season, because I knew what this particular moment meant, yes, but I did it, as I say, courageously, and I did it scared anyway. And I always say I had a panic attack 2 days before leaving Los Angeles, just knowing that there is no coming back to any old version of who I was because I was meant for more. And regardless of the fear, I was going to dig as deep as I needed to find that courage. Now, this wasn't the first time that I actually sold everything and left the United States. This was actually the third. So I did it in my early 20s at 21, and then I did it again at 25. The first time moving to Germany, the second time moving to Australia. And again, those are just some interesting chapters in my life. I always had this thing for travel. And so whatever it was, it just was craving. I was craving it and it called me. But yeah, so this time it was it was still scary again because it wasn't like I was going to just play. It was like, no, you're going to build your business, you're going to heal, you're going to find the courage, you're going to find your voice and move into this season and this elevated state of who you are that you have never reached yet. And you're going to have to trust this journey and you're going to have to trust this process. And whatever that looks like, I was ready for it, scared and all. I just was moving in faith and was like, I'm going to take the first step. And this is what it looked like. It looked like me starting my Instagram and TikTok. As soon as I was leaving, that's when it all started. And so that is was like, okay, I know I'm supposed to be in front of this camera. So let me figure out how to navigate this. It wasn't for business at that point. It was just to build the momentum of showing up and being present.
Mm-hmm. That's deep because I know it would take a lot for me to just let everything go and just travel freely and put my faith in the universe just to make provide things for us because we are so um, used to these attachments that just anchor us down. It's just comforting. It's hard to practice the art of letting go and just being free. But do you have any regrets? Were there any obstacles along the way?
That's a good question. I would say the main obstacle was getting out of my own way, being somebody who is very structured and organized, to welcome in that surrender and that flow of connecting with people, of events, of trying the new things. I think I could have amped that up a little bit. I mean, it was an amazing journey, but I see places where I still was a little bit hesitant or scared. And yeah, I don't want to. I'm like, okay, just keep letting that go. Recognize this because you are in that season of shifting to embody, of course, the fully courageous person. So I accept that gracefully.
That takes a lot of courage for real.
Yeah,
Especially you said you went to Germany. How was that? Do you speak any other languages, or
I
did you have to
don't.
kind of go with the flow?
I speak some Spanish from high school, 3 years, and it is a
Hmm.
lot of going with the flow. So, how is it? The first country I landed in was Albania, of all places, a little speck. So, I learned some Albanian as I went. But yeah, no, I don't speak any other languages of most of the places I landed in, and I was okay with that.
And how did the people receive you traveling abroad to those different countries? Were they very welcoming?
I would say yes. I think I would say yes. Yeah, very welcoming. And again, finding my tribe or my community of people who are like minded or other expats or travelers. When I would connect with the locals, it would be because of my routine, the way I set it up, whether it's the local gym or the butcher or the shop owner, and that's where then I would build local communities around locals outside of travelers. So, yeah, so it was quite fascinating.
So you literally had to change your mindset first in order to manifest this life of just freedom, to be able to travel abroad. So how would you advise that someone can use mindfulness or meditation techniques to overcome their limiting and negative self-talk that might block their blessing? Let's, for example, just being afraid, just, like me, I think I would be very afraid to just drop everything and just go live in a different country. But what kind of advice would you give somebody to overcome that fear and that negative self-talk?
Yeah. Well, I think also the courage really comes not just for traveling, but for doing a lot of the things that we want to do for our lives. So my message through traveling is about courage, but it really is a message to anybody who's looking to find courage to do whatever it is that's calling them to do. And I believe that being able to sit with yourself in stillness, silence sometimes, and to really take time to sculpt a vision and listen to yourself and your inner workings, that inner wisdom that we all have for the path that we really want to be taking is one of the most important things. And that's where you and I come in, where we were talking about meditation. And so meditation is taking that moment of stillness. And when you're doing the meditations, it can be around I am statements to empower yourself around moving in that special area that you want to activate and elevate within. And it really is just knowing your why as well. Like, why do I want to do this? What is it that is drawing and calling me to that? And do I have enough willpower to stay the course and to continue to aim or reach for that vision, even though I'm maybe scared and lacking the courage in this present moment? Like saying, I really, really want to do this thing. I really want to change my life. I really want to elevate. I really want to start a podcast or write this book. And there's another element to that as well, as I would say, is eliminating the outside noise or what you think people will say, how you think it's going to be received. The beauty of life is really about creating with the universe, creating with the creator, and making your life your own personal work of art. And so we have to shut out the what ifs and the how things are going to be received when we choose to walk in our own path that we've been destined for. And yeah, that's what I really love about meditation and mindfulness. It allows us to play with our own creative energy. And I believe we're all here to create. So whether it becomes a bestseller, no, the job is to get the words out. If it becomes an international sensation, no, it's I was gifted to create this thing, whether it reaches a million people or one. that's the beauty for me around it. And meditation really, really sets this precedence and this tone on being able to own and embody, once again, embodying the thing. And then to say, okay, well, this is how we're feeling, this is how we're going to move in this courage, and that's how I'm going to show up.
And that's a powerful way of looking at it, actually. Just to put it out there, just, we are creators. So let's just do what we do naturally and create. And then if the publicity and all of that follows, that's just a result of the energy that you put out. It's being returned. Now, what does your daily practice look like? What does your mindfulness routine look like? How often do you meditate? And someone new coming into this, like let's say we have an audience member that is just wanting to get into it for the first time. How would you recommend that they start putting that into a daily practice?
Well, for me, I wake up before the sun, so usually about 5:30. I do some stretching, some breathing, some gratitudes mentally, not verbally. I then get dressed and I go outside, sit on the grass, and do some light yoga, stretching, and just listen to nature, feet on the grass, all the things, sitting with myself, and just really starting to visualize the day, the lifelong visions, and grounding myself again to nature, feeling the energy go through my system. And sometimes, well, most of the times, it's a daily practice. I do this like every single day if I can help it. And then with that, sometimes I actually listen to my own meditations that I've created around different subjects. So I have a collection of 19 meditations for various different things. So when I'm in the mood to lean into deep gratitude, I'll listen to the Oh So Grateful meditation. Or if I want to maximize my self love, then I'm going to listen to the one that's related to that. But yeah, it's this beautiful practice that for me, because I'm a morning person, this is when I do it. This is how I do it, but I also do it throughout the day as I'm going about my daily life. When it comes to best practices, I would say for individuals who are just starting out, figure out what time of day you feel like you want to spend time with yourself. I do believe that it is not one size fits all, just like our entire lives, we're our own unique fingerprints.
Hmm.
So it is about finding a routine that works for you. I always say start small, so maybe 5 minutes or 10 minutes. And if you can do longer stints, great. But just to get going, start with 5 minutes. I also say practice breathing deeper than you normally do. That's something that really, really sets it off. Sometimes we forget to breathe.
We do. We breathe so shallow. When I actually become aware of it, and I'm living in the in present, like I just realize we don't really take the time to pay attention to listen to our bodies, and we breathe literally so shallow. And when I tried the breathing techniques just to, just to see how that felt, it makes a big difference. It's relaxing. It probably energizes your body in ways that are very healthy
Oh,
too.
yeah.
So that is definitely
Yeah.
important.
And it brings you back to yourself as well. It brings the focus from everything
I'm
external.
sure that's something that is a good practice. It's a good practice to get into before you start the meditation, right? Like just sit with yourself and just breathe for a couple minutes, and that probably kind of helps you focus and get more present in the moment. Because I know when I've tried to meditate, and I'm sure a lot of people can attest to this, and you've probably heard it a million times before, but we're bombarded with 10,000 different thoughts, and it's very hard to stay focused and concentrate for long periods of time. But like you said, you mentioned start slow and just be consistent, and then eventually those thoughts will fade away, or you'll be able to dismiss them a little bit easier, right?
Yes. Yes, that's so true. And one thing that I actually find beautiful is I was living on a busy street before I started traveling. And I would say to myself, well, I can't meditate properly here because of the noise. And then something clicked one day, and I was like, no, You actually need to understand how to meditate with the noise. So I then would go outside and sit on the grass and meditate with all the traffic going on. And again, it wasn't that I tuned everything out, but I was saying, I'm going to be still no matter what's going on around me. Whether it's a storm, I'm still going to find that stillness for myself. And yeah, and through meditation, sometimes it's not about just being completely empty and void of thoughts or void of the stuff going around you, but can you bring yourself back to yourself regardless of what's happening outside of you?
So, how do you find the motivation to stay consistent? Even like, let's say you start that, you started, or someone new to meditation, or just being practicing being mindful, period, and being more courageous. How do you stay consistent and motivated when you don't see the results immediately? Because we all chase instant gratification. I know I do. So, how do we stay consistent and motivated?
I think you definitely have to be very cognizant of your why. Like, why do you want to do it anyway? Because sometimes we aim for something that's really not in our values wheelhouse. We may be saying, okay, I want to be a multimillionaire, but do you value money to where you are super consistent in how you show up for it now before you're even at that point? So it may not be high on your value list. Maybe family is, maybe romantic love is, maybe building the vision and the business is. So understand your why and make sure you are personally doing this to enhance whatever that why is for you. That's one thing. And I always talk about faith and knowing that everything that you want is not going to show up in this instant gratification. We have to have that stillness and that calm for the long haul. You have to be able to still visualize the light at the end of the tunnel, regardless of what's going on, if you truly, truly want to, say, even make the meditation practice your daily thing, because you know it may just benefit you physically. It may be lowering your blood pressure, maybe doing whatever for you. But if you can sit with knowing, like, I'm doing this and I'm going to build in this discipline, this consistent habit, that's going to be, I guess, the game changer for my life. And when you are in love with your life and you love yourself and you want to nourish yourself in this way, I think that's one thing that will keep you consistent. And also finding content, if you are online, finding content and people and teachers who are teaching what it is you want to embody. So that is something super, super important to keep you motivated.
Very true. So, I just want to hear your opinion on this because I hear different opinions. What I know you said you have to have a vision. You have to see the bigger picture. But would you say that the bigger picture is more important, or the small steps that you have to take to get there along the way?
On a daily basis, holding the bigger vision, I believe, is going to make you want to take the daily steps. When I'm building something new from scratch, it's knowing what's coming at the end, not necessarily the success of it, but the fact that I'm creating it day by day. Oh, I'm just doing this. I may just be writing a few paragraphs for a book, but this is for the whole. This is for the greater. So it's kind of interesting to say which one. It's kind of like, to me, a chicken and egg conundrum because doing the daily steps is going to build the discipline and the consistency that's required to even hold, probably, and harness that bigger vision for you. Without doing that work. A bodybuilder isn't just a bodybuilder at the end of the day. It's the daily work that's being put in.
I think the only reason why I asked that is because I used to have, well, I still do have big visions, and just the sheer thought of knowing how much work has to go into it can be very overwhelming. So I know for some people that might be looking at the bigger picture might be more motivational, but when I am not thinking about how much it's going to take to get there, that kind of helps me stay more consistent, just showing
Okay.
up every
Yeah.
day. So I just wanted to
Yeah.
throw that
Yeah.
in there, see what your opinion was.
Oh, yeah. But you're doing the daily habits for the bigger vision. which is amazing. And I totally understand what you're saying because I too have grand dreams that I don't even know how I'm going to accomplish. But I'm like, well, everything of these last 37 years compressed and compounded of all the learning and all the things has got me to here just how beautiful it's true, like you're saying, the daily habits from here on out towards that. Yeah, I love that.
So I know that self love, um, it plays a very big role in just creating a positive mindset. Um, and how would you say that it plays? What type of role does it play in the actual manifestation process, like having self love and acceptance? How does it play into the manifestation process, and how could we cultivate these qualities if we're lacking?
Oh, I like that. Well, when it comes to the self love and the self, I also call it self appreciation, being able to nurture yourself on a daily basis. Because not only do we need to love ourselves, but we need to actually nourish and nurture that self love in whatever way we personally choose to. But these are really foundational because when you are in love with yourself and you are grateful for your existence, for your presence, for every inch of you, you are sending a signal to the universe through energy saying, I am in love with myself. Please assist me in creating and bringing about these beautiful gifts, these beautiful manifestations that I'm desiring. And it really does have a symbiotic relationship. So I think it's you're still possible to manifest without having the self love in place, but it just adds to the foundation of manifesting. I would say sometimes a bit more quickly, if but yeah, it's just this beautiful element. You don't want to be out of sorts with the energy signal you're sending out into the universe, um, and trying to receive at the same time. Then it just becomes this jumbled mess. So if you can master self love, self care.
Yeah, and I think it's important to always work in line with your true values and have positive intentions, and that's how you'll manifest more in abundance. So, can you share a little bit about everything that you offer? I know you say you're a soul coach. What exactly does that entail?
Right now, I offer clarity conversations. So anybody who is usually at that cusp of making a decision and are still in a little bit of a shaky zone around that fear, they come to me, we discuss it, we figure out a game plan, an action plan, and usually just through conversation, we're able to then move and propel them to greater heights. So those are what I call clarity calls or coaching, usually sometimes in a month container as well. So they have time to implement, to question, to figure out what it actually looks like and what they actually need to do over a longer period of time. So from an hour to a month container currently. And then I have a beautiful suite of guided activation meditations. So these are very much like affirming meditations for life. Each one is under 20 minutes. You can do it. I always believe that meditation is not just sitting down, but you can do it walking. I love doing it walking because you feel empowered. I love doing it and repeating the words. So it's like really feeding and nurturing you. So there's this beautiful suite of activation meditation. There's also a couple of books that I've written and one that's on the way, a memoir from myself called Her Light, Her Voice, and also created and available now, Love Letters. So that is pretty much a written collection of people, places, and things that have made an impression on me, and me just reminding myself and others of all the beautiful things that we can love that have happened in our lives, good or bad. It's all a part of our beautiful tapestry that we've created. So those are a couple of the offerings that I offer.
That's nice, and I am absolutely. As soon as we end this, I'm gonna go and look for those meditations because I'm very interested in implementing that in my daily routine as well. So, where can they find you? TikTok, Instagram, Facebook.
Yes. So both on TikTok and Instagram, it's at lumin.grace, Lumin.grace. I am mostly on TikTok creating content. And to find any of these beautiful soul offerings, you can go to lumingrace.com/links.
All right, sounds great. Now, I thank you so much for sharing your insight with us today. Definitely was inspired by your story, and um, I can't wait to start practicing more of just letting go and buckling down and just creating a more positive mindset to help manifest the things that I'm trying to bring into my reality. So I'm gonna definitely work on that. Like I said, I'm gonna grab those meditations and hopefully implement that into my daily routine as well. So thank you for sharing with us.
Awesome. I love that. My pleasure. And also, too, before you jump off of here, when it comes to the meditations, and this is something I'm working with a business coach as well right now to help me be a little bit more clear in how I'm sharing these things because to me, they're super powerful. And what you get is not just a meditation audio, but I did a video version and I also created a beautiful printable PDF, colorful version of each meditation as well. And also, it comes with a best practice and how to get started of me talking and sharing for like 30 minutes. So, yeah, it's a beautiful suite. Yeah, so
Do you have any special codes or anything, or any offers for our audience?
I do. So, for anything available within my offering suite, 25% off of everything using the code Sacred Sistahhood.
Nice. All right. Can't wait to check that out. All right. I will be talking to you very soon. We'll keep in touch. Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Have a good one. Peace. Peace, Goddess. So, are you ready yet? Are you ready to harness your inner power and dive deep into a sacred feminine initiation of self love and soul care rituals? If so, then join us for our African Goddess Initiation Workshop. This workshop will allow you to connect with yourself and your fellow sisters in a space of empowerment and vulnerability. We'll uncover the goddess within each of us and tap into our intuitive power. Trust me, you'll feel a transformation in your mind, body, and spirit. I understand the importance of creating a sisterhood and having a space to explore spirituality and self-love. So this workshop is here to provide just that. So if you're ready to join our Sacred Sisterhood and take the first step towards a journey of self-care and self-love, then take action now. Click on the link below to join us for the African Goddess Initiation Workshop. You'll leave feeling rejuvenated, connected to your higher self, and to a community of women on a journey of self-discovery just like you.